Good morning. I am Mervyn Hanley of THG Network. Of course, what we do now on some Fridays, instead of presenting the news, I'll have discussions with folks from all walks of life. So this morning is no different, and today we'll speak about a matter that is seriously troubling and has caused much pain and heartache to many customers of the Republic Bank. And what we do know is that the Republic Bank woke up one morning, let me put it like that, and decided to debit customers' accounts associated with delayed charges dating back over a period of time. They say 1 year, but I am sure it's more than a year. Last week, Republic Bank Limited, in a media statement, confirmed that as a result of a technical issue stemming from its conversion exercise, according to them, some of its customers' accounts were not debited in a timely manner for point of sale and e-commerce transactions. So it assured customers that the technical issue has since been resolved. That part is also not true. Let's continue. The issue came to light after many customers from several Eastern Caribbean islands, including Anguilla, the BVI, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Grenada, complained about unexpectedly being debited for outstanding transactions, some of which occurred more than a year ago. So how could this be right? And while some islands only complained, some folks from other islands only complained on social media for about 2 days. Not Anguillians and not the residents of Anguilla. On Wednesday, there was a protest outside Republic Bank with almost 200 Anguillians, I believe, and residents. So today I have three ladies who led the march, the protest march and all of that in front of the bank, and who has been pretty vocal to speak about this atrocity, and they are here to hold this financial institution accountable. So let me say welcome, ladies, to THG. Let's begin this conversation. Tara Carter, I will begin with you for your opening statement and the introduction of the ladies with us here today.
Hi, Marvin. Thank you for having us. My name is Tara Carter. I am a lawyer in Anguilla, but I'm also one of the customers that has been affected by this Republic situation. On the call with me is Mrs. Melisha Maccow-Niles and Miss Anoushka Romney. They are both leading the charge. They are the spokespersons. They've gathered at least 216 signatures, and it's continuing to grow, of protesters that have been hit quite hard financially with these unauthorized debits. So we're raising awareness, but we're also letting the Republic Bank know. We've reached out to the ECCB. We've reached out to the government of Anguilla. We've reached out to the Republic Bank Board in Trinidad, and we're letting them know that on this occasion, Anguillians are not going to roll over. This is the straw that broke the camel's back for us.
Melisha?
Good afternoon, Mr. Hanley, and thank you for taking the time to bring awareness to this unimaginable decision that Republic thought was something good to do. I cannot believe and believe and how no one in the bank, when this was being discussed and being planned, no one put their hand up and said, this is going to be a bad idea. This is going to upend the financial situations of persons on the island. And that is the most amazing thing for me, that no one, not one person thought that this was not right.
Anoushka?
Good afternoon, Mr. Hanley. Thank you so much for taking to hear our story. I agree with Melisha. I'm one of those persons as well that's been affected. And I questioned the bank, and no one could have given me a direct answer on how this matter would have happened. And my mind started from 2022.
2022?
Yes. 2022 from February 11th, 2022.
But the bank is making it appear as if it's just a year.
It's
No,
not
that's
just
not. No.
that is not true.
2021 for some people.
Correct.
But
It goes back to 2020 for some as well.
Sheesh. But let me ask, Melisha, you mentioned that no one at all got this right? Or could have said something. But I'm trying to actually fathom how could that be possible? How could not one soul say, guys, you know what? This cannot be right. How could absolutely no one would have said, you know what, guys, let us do this differently? They claim that they sent emails out or whatever the case may be, but people just wake up one morning and their accounts are empty.
You know, Mr. Henry, what is strange is that I honestly came up with a very different theory today, because I literally sat down, and the ladies and I and everybody, our chat has, I think, over 200 persons. This all came together within 48 hours. I kid you not. And I sat down this morning and I went through this entire chat when it started. And people were actually saying, even on Facebook, that they were hit before, to them before. So it made me wonder, how is it that it happened before and it's happening now, but they have only publicly addressed it now? So it makes me feel like they knew about this from 2 to 3 years ago, and they were doing it in batches. They had to have been doing this in batches, and they kept doing it. And what is the possibility of you having an issue and I having an issue, and we running into each other and we're discussing this issue? But their biggest mistake was doing this 461 persons in one batch.
That's what they said for Anguilla, and that is for Anguilla alone, 461, right?
Correct. This is what we've been told, but I guarantee that number is not correct. I am more than sure that number is more if we begin to add persons who've had this issue prior to April 29th.
And April 29th, speaking of April 29th, isn't that the same day or around the same time the same Republic Bank announced the billions and billions of dollars they made?
Absolutely. So they had to, they published that, and they had to report that. So all of our money is in that $1 billion, one would believe.
Wow.
I absolutely believe that as well.
Go ahead, Anoushka.
I do believe that our monies are part of that billion.
So
Marvin, if I can interject.
yeah, sure. Go ahead, Tara.
From a financial point of view, and I've done accounting at the college level. I'm not an accountant, and I sat as the deputy chair of the Financial Services Commission for many years. I actually served on the Financial Services Commission for 15 years before I ended my term earlier this year to focus on more nonprofit and charitable initiatives. And what is startling for me is that this is a regulatory issue as well. I went onto the Republic website to have a look at their financial statements because I have a friend who audits the bank, usually audits banks for a living, and I wanted her to look at it because I think that the way that this was done is even more catastrophic, because on a wider level, on a macro level, how is it that a bank can purportedly pay our bills on our behalf, not debit our accounts in a timely manner, which is what their services agreement requires, and still be profitable? Is it that they're underreporting? Does it bring into question any credibility issues or reliability issues of their accounting and auditing process? I think that this is actually a national crisis. When these two young ladies reached out to me, I was off island, and I said to them, I don't think this is a matter for a lawyer, so don't introduce me as a lawyer in this matter. I'm a customer like each of you, suffering the same way as each of you, and this is actually a national crisis because it tells me that the efficacy of this bank is questionable.
You say national, but national, I'm hoping you're talking, it's a regional, international crisis because...
And I can only speak for Anguilla because we're not hearing any agitation in any other islands.
But guess what? You guys have started this, and I can assure you that it will now continue. I
don't know, Marvin, because the other islands in the ECCU are generally more hostile, more aggressive, I should say, not hostile. They're generally more vocal than us. So I thought it strange. I took about 2 days before I came on board with this group because I said, surely the other islands have very vocal people. They have very intelligent senior lawyers. Somebody's going to jump on this, and nobody was saying anything.
So, Tara, let me ask you, how did this come about as far as the protest? Why did you decide to organize this? Is it that folks wanted someone to be the forefront of all of this? Or it just so happened that once somebody came out and began to speak out against the bank, then people recognize that they have a problem too. So how did this grouping come about?
Okay, from where I sit, I'll tell you what happened. On the Monday, I didn't get an email, and I have two businesses and another individual account there, and neither of those accounts got an email. I know Anoushka very well, and she rang me, of course, straight from the bank, and she told me what was happening. I was very puzzled. I was in the U.S. at the time, and I didn't jump on board. I didn't react. I just, said, okay, let me digest this. And within a half hour, my mom was listening to Class FM on her iPad, and I heard Anoushka's voice on the radio, and I said, but isn't that Anoushka? Why is she on the radio? This is a lady that you never hear speak. What is she doing? So I tuned in, and then I realized what was going on. I think that the agitation was caused by persons going to the bank after they got the email, trying to figure out what had happened. And the reaction from the managers to be were so cold in their reactions, so inhumane, that they decided to lobby through the public media and then started to add each other to this chat. So as the chat grew, that's when they realized, but hey, we have a lot of stories. We have a lot of people. The chat last week when I landed was 34 people. The last I checked, it was 180 something people. And there are people that are just contacting us. Anguilla is a small place. And what's unfortunate, Marvin, is that there are onlookers that are seeming to suggest that this is a group of probably mischief makers that don't want to pay the bank. And that is far from the case. When you look at who's affected, there's a lot of credible people. This is not anybody trying to get anything over on the bank that were brave enough to sign their names. I've never protested in my life, but they were brave enough to sign their names and show up in the rain yesterday. So what we're doing and what we're hoping to do is to bring to the fore that we are not going to back down. It's not going to go swept under the rug like what happened with the others that there were other batches, as Melisha said. That's not going to happen this time. Not at all. Because what I've raised for this group is a battle I have been fighting myself privately with my office transactions, where I have irregularities with my checking account. So I don't just have irregularities with my debit card. I have irregularities with my checking account, where I have a series of mismatched checks to my transactions, and I've been posting them, I've been sharing them, just so that people can see I'm not making this up. I have an email from the bank manager in November of 2023 admitting that there's a system error and that they're trying to rectify it. She wrote me this, and she never wrote back. I have a series of mismatched transactions, which I've tagged you in, Marvin, as recent as actually just now. I tagged you in one this morning before I got on this call. I clicked a transaction. I wrote a check on Friday. The check is in a certain amount, and the check that is scanned to that transaction is a 2022 check. So all of my entries, just about all of my entries onto my account are mismatched with scan checks. And this is a manager that says, I'm sorry. Actually, she didn't even say I'm sorry. She said, apologies. Apologies. There's no courtesy. And Melisha can talk to you about the discourteous response that we got from the country manager yesterday when we showed up as a group.
Oh, I'm getting to that. But let me ask Anoushka this. Since that you are the one who called Tara, so if you don't mind sharing your story on what startled you and some of the stories you probably hear from other folks, and then I'll get to Melisha.
Most certainly. My story started on Monday morning. I got up, and my partners, because I'm an entrepreneur, they are overseas, so I have to be very, very much on my emails. So I saw a notice from Republic Bank, so I went in and I said, this is strange. This doesn't look like my account, because I have transactions from Anglet, my kids' tuition and so forth. So now I got to reading the email, and the email is telling me they had an issue with the e-commerce and transactions and so forth. So I stopped reading, because now this is my money. And I called Trinidad immediately. And when I called Trinidad, they said to me, I'm so sorry, Miss Romney, you will have to go and visit your bank. I said, I'm sorry, this email was sent on Saturday, where there's no assistance from my bank. You are the next assistant because your number is listed on this email. So you have to be the one to assist me. She said, I'm so sorry, I cannot. I said, okay, so what is your job description? She proceeded to tell me she cannot help me. Wow. I said, okay, no problem. I went to the bank Monday morning, and I said, before I question the bank, I'm going to withdraw my money. Time I reached to the teller, Miss Romney, your account is on hold. Hold for what? You have to go to customer service. went to customer service, and she said to me, we had different transactions that did not come out. I said, okay then, since these transactions did not come out, can you kindly show me? And she said, I'm not able to show you, but I can print off your statement. I said, no, I don't need a statement. I either need for you to have my app open beyond November 2023 so I can prove you all my transactions like I usually do. And I could tell you what was missed or not. She said, well, your app is quite limited. I said, wait. I said, this have to be a nightmare. Can I speak to someone else? Manager took a while. She walked around saying she's helping other persons. And when she finally came to me, I said, one thing that doesn't make sense to me here is this. And I started to her plain out. I'm not book smart maybe, but I'm common sense smart. Please show me the in and out of what's going on. That is when I reached out to Tara. Then a group of us ladies was in the bank at the same time. Just about 6 of us read those emails on the Saturday or Sunday. And I said to them, I could not sleep Sunday night because I was wondering where all this money is going to be coming from. This is coming from my direct account. Another lady said the same thing to me. We just huddled up together and we went to Hammer. We let Hammer know that this is not a scam. This is what is actually happening on the island right now. Republic Bank sent your email on Saturday and your money was gone by Monday morning, 10 o'clock.
Unbelievable. And if you're just joining us, you're logged on to THG Network and we're speaking with Anoushka Romney, Melisha, Maccow-Niles, and Tara Carter. And we're speaking about the I don't know how to describe it. I think I know how to describe it privately, but not publicly. What is happening with Republic Bank. And, guys, ladies, this feels like, when you have a scam from some hacking, business or whatever the case may be. But this is actually from the financial institution. And Melisha, what are some of the stories that you can share with us?
I was affected, Marvin. I also am a business owner, and when I heard about it, one of my customers told me about it, so I grabbed my phone, and I do have the app on my phone, and I checked and I saw all of these minuses for April 29th, and I'm like, what on earth is this? Because today is April 29th, and I haven't swiped my card once. I saw it and I said, you know what? This doesn't make any sense. And I put the phone down. Another customer who was in the bar, he started to check because he told me about it. He didn't even check for himself. And to find that he was out $2,000. Some of the things that people are saying, like yourself, is that this has to be a scam because it cannot be real. But at this point, I'm telling people, you need to stop saying it's a scam because these human decisions, someone's decisions, because when you listen to people like Tara's story, Tara would tell you that her loan was supposed to come out on a specific date. I believe it was the 26th that she mentioned, but this didn't happen until the 29th.
Yeah, what they did
was affected. So it skipped over.
Yeah, it's a conscious decision. I showed it to Melisha and Anoushka yesterday. I left Island on the 19th. I left excess to cover the loan, and the loan payment was $700. I left $1,200 just so they can swoop it out and everything be okay. I didn't know this was brewing. On the 25th, I logged in and I said, but why haven't they paid my loan? 26th, why haven't they paid my loan? 27th, 28th, still didn't pay the loan, and I was a little confused because I've been doing this system for 2 years. On the 29th, I log in because now I started to get a little nervous. Logged in, and sure enough, not only did they not pay the loan, they used the cash to debit it down to minus $4,700 because I'd only put the loan payment in that account, that specific loan account, and then they marked the loan in arrears. And to add insult to injury, the loan is a cash secured loan, so they have cash.
Wow.
So is it now that they require me to come into the bank? I hope they don't because I don't want to go into that bank at all. But it is. I've never had to go into the bank to pay the loan. It's an automatic payment. Who stopped the automatic payments just so you could swipe my account, mark my loans in arrears, holding cash for 5 times the amount that I owe you? Who did that?
I know you are the attorney here, but you're not speaking from an attorney's standpoint. But I can say this sounds criminal. No, this actually sounds criminal.
It's intentional. It's intentional.
It is criminal.
So I told you that I delayed getting on board with these ladies. All right, I hadn't seen Melisha since she went to high school with my sister, probably 20 years ago. And I spoke to her when she was overseas. I looked at when I was overseas, I looked at what she was working on. I said, we need to still be equipped. We need to be armed. We can't just, you can't just jump up and be emotional. So I said to myself, well, surely enough, they would have gotten advice. So let me see what my services agreement says, because that is my contract with the bank. You have a services agreement with me to operate my account in a certain way. So usually those things are buried either in the application form that you sign, but there are always supplemental documents on the website. So on the website, and I'm going to urge your listeners in every country that's affected, if they go on their Republic's local website, and if they click where it says company overview, there are a list of documents. And on that list of documents, there's a section called doing business with us. There's a banking license, the code of banking, and a document called the companion booklet account services. That's the services agreement. So when you open it, Marvin, this is the part that throws me for a loop. There's a section on page 11 of that document that tells you how postings are supposed to be done, contemporaneous just about with your transaction. The postings are done on the day after. If it's a holiday, it's very detailed. If it's a holiday, it's 2 days after. And then what really threw me was the limitation of liability section, because the limitation of liability section, it says we are not liable to you for any delay, loss, or damage or expense that you incur or any inconvenience that results from our providing or failing to provide service, except where such losses result from technical problems. Except where such losses result from technical problems, bank errors, or system malfunctions for which we are solely responsible. And then there's a second part at page 13 of that code where it says, I think it's page, let me grab it really quickly. Right, page 14 of their document. You will not be liable for losses in the following circumstances: technical problems and other system malfunctions. So for me, I said to them, and I've been saying it to them from November. I have a paper trail of complaints from November as it relates to system errors. And I said to them, I can be patient, I can be reasonable, but I have a reasonable expectation that my bank has to be reliable, transparent, and accurate. What are these system errors? To what extent are these errors? Will your error get up one day and pay my loan? Probably not. Or will your error one day withdraw everything from my account without reason?
Yep.
Which one? I prefer your error to wipe me and give me a clean slate, but that's not going to happen. And I hesitated to get on board, but I got on board, and I'll tell you when, Marvin, when two young men called me. They don't know me. They found me on Facebook in direct messenger, and they said, Miss, I heard you're going to be helping people. And I said, where'd you hear that? I'm not. And they said, I can't pay my bills. I take care of my mom. I have kids, and they wipe me dry. One young man thought that I worked in the bank, and that's why I was going to help people. I said, I don't work in the bank. And he said, you don't work in the bank? I said, no. I said, you have to go there to ask questions. And he said, Miss, they are going to give me my money tomorrow. So I said, this can really breed a lot of frustration, and maybe the responsible thing for me to do is to help.
Wow.
And I came home. On Saturday.
And can you imagine, let's say they have a patient at the hospital who is a customer, and that patient...
Can you imagine?
And that patient has...
There's an Anguilla in Trinidad on the surgical table for knee surgery that was depending on his money to do his surgery. We have every scenario.
I was just even making that as an example, but are you saying that actually happened too? That someone was actually...
Yes,
wow.
Absolutely.
Yes.
There are so many, and Mr. Hanley, one of the biggest issues, and while persons were signing the petition, they're coming with their stories, And one of the things that you think about is, and this is why this is a human decision, because we all know that persons get paid at the end of the month. This was strategic, because you know that persons are going to get paid at the end of the month, and you can pull the money. They debited people's accounts before their funds were on their accounts. Correct. So when you think that you've been paid, but the bank has then raped you of your money, so therefore you don't have any money. And the situation is that if you have $3,000 on the bank, Mr. Hanley, they took out $6,000. You are now in a deficit of $6,000. What that means is that you now have to pay $6,000 to bring your account to zero. That is the reality of the situation. And things are already hard in Anguilla. Can you imagine somebody waking up and thinking, oh, I'm getting paid today, I have to pay my rent? Because remember, it's the end of the month.
Yes.
So rent is due and all of these things are due. There are people who cannot pay their rent. There are people who cannot feed their children. There are people who cannot go to the shop. Mr. Hanley, a young lady came and signed the petition. She is pregnant. Weeks before she's supposed to give birth, her account is down to $4. She has been sick her entire pregnancy. And you know what she said to me? Because sometimes when persons are going through things, you think you're saying something comforting. And you say, don't think about it. We'll work it out. You say these words that we think are comforting. And you know what she said to me? You are saying that so freely when it's obviously not the case. And I was taken aback, where I had to say, you know what? I am so sorry that I said that to you. Because honestly, I thought I was saying the right thing. But truly, I really was saying it with the hope that, I can comfort her in some way.
Yes.
And she said to me, Melisha, you're saying that so freely. You're saying that so freely when it's not that easy. I'm about to give birth in weeks. I've been sick every day.
And Marvin, that's a lady who's gainfully employed. She has a salary. She has a good job.
She has a good job. She's employed. Not somebody
that didn't have money in their account. She gets her salary. So the swipe, these are the stories that we're hearing, and it's very painful because we can't just ignore it and roll over. They have to be made to answer to this because this was maliciously and intentionally done.
This is maddening. This is sad. This is really, really heartbreaking to hear.
It's really heartbreaking. It's disrespectful, Mr. Hanley, and to know that our money is what pays the bank. And this is why I started this conversation and I said, I do understand how no one who was making this decision, no one sitting in this room put up their hand and said, this is going to be detrimental to our customers and the country. No one said it. And that's the most disheartening part.
And speaking of the bank, and Anoushka, I'm not sure if you want to chime in here. So yesterday, you were at the in front of the bank. What happened? I know that a letter was supposed to be delivered. What happened?
So the letter was supposed to be delivered to the chairman bank, which is Pauline Barry. And my team and us, we sent an email letting them know of the petition and everything, the protest and so forth. And I hand-delivered the letter to them as well the morning to let them know that this is what is going to be happening, a peaceful protest. And when the time came in, we went and requested her. The security was talking to Melisha prior, letting her know that, no cameras or no mics or anything, no cell phones or anything would be allowed in the bank with Miss Charlie. So we then asked if it would be okay for her to come outside. It's a reasonable request. He came back, he said, okay. We went inside to request her, and then we was then told that she's not going to be the one taking it. Another operational manager, who will remain nameless, she would then take it. So we said, okay then. We went, got the letter, and gave it to them. And we were quite disappointed because you are the same person that sent out this email, or did not send the email to some persons, but some persons did not receive the email. I received the email with your name. Why is it no? I'm looking for you or requesting you. You're not nowhere to be found.
Just to receive a letter.
And the same letter was read out by us, so we didn't ask her to read this letter. We just wanted you to receive the letter, and she was nowhere to be found.
So they did this to their customers, and it's like you show up now, and it's like, to hell with you guys. Just send up the letter. Just do what you want.
Exactly. Just happen.
I mean, it's disrespectful because you because I also never received the letter. So you sent out this letter with your name at the bottom proudly, because no one sends something out and, just forget about it. You send it out because you agree with whatever you're sending. You send this out, you've made a decision and you're sticking to your decision, and you send this letter out. But now, when someone is coming to you to hold you accountable and to speak to you about the letter, you don't come. How does that make any sense to you? How does that tell me that you respect me as a customer? You do banking here because you come here to make a profit. No one starts a business to have a loss. Republic Bank came to Anguilla because they saw the opportunity to be able to be successful. Let's not kid games here. That is why you came. No one comes to Anguilla to possibly make money. You come to Anguilla to make money. You start a business to make money, to have a profit. So you come here and you send this letter. You do this atrocious thing in the middle of the night. And now when the sun comes up and we're all outside ready to face you, you can't do that. You send a local manager out to do that. Her name is not on the bottom of the letter. It's your name on the bottom of the letter. You have to make a decision, stand by the decision, and come out and face the public who you have affected, because it's your name on the bottom of that letter. And I think it's disgraceful that she sent someone else to receive the letter, because we weren't asking her to do anything, to be honest, Mr. Hanley. We only asked that you receive the letter. If you want, if the public was going to be asking you questions and you were not prepared to do that, you could have easily said no comment and go right back on the inside. There's no fear of life because you have additional security in the bank that day. They had more than they normally have. There's no fear of life. There's the Royal Anguilla Police Force on the outside, which is in compliance to the peaceful protest. So why didn't you come to receive the letter that's addressed to you for a decision that you made? It's cowardice, to be honest.
And just speaking of the letter, do you have that letter with you right now that someone can read to the audience?
Sure do.
Okay.
I will tell you it's a little bit lengthy. It's 4 pages.
4? Okay.
Yeah, maybe you might want to... Well, I was thinking maybe we can send a copy to you, Marvin, and you're free to post it on your platform.
Okay, no problem.
It's essentially referred them to the services agreement and their duty as a fiduciary holder of our funds, their breach of trust, their breach of contract. And one of the things that you'll see that, and that's a document you can get from the Republic site, so we'll send it to you. And it also refers them to the Code of Banking Practices, which is provided for by the ECCB. And that's why we've copied the ECCB, because the code kind of, sets the parameters for best practice. And we wanted them to pay sight to the matters that are set out. For example, their duty is to correct mistakes quickly, handle complaints within a reasonable period of time. There's certain things that we've said to them as a bank and as our banker, you have not complied with. Now, the reason why I think this is all dangerous in terms of how they handle it is that those customers that Melisha described that were there yesterday, they braved the rain. They were, they were executives. They were Anguillians, non-Anguillians, expats, locals. They were everyone, white, black. It was no division, really. We were all united by this one thing, and they felt disrespected. And what I think should be worrisome is the unthinkable creating runs and triggering runs on banks. That's why this is national, that's why this is regional, and that's why we've notified Governor Timothy Antoine's office. We sent it to his office, they've confirmed receipt of it.
I was about to ask you if you've heard from the ECCB, and speaking of them, because I saw a statement that they gave to a media outlet or whatever the case may be, and to me it was a very flimsy, unacceptable response. Unfortunate. Oh, it's such an unfortunate incident. I mean, it's more than unfortunate. And I did not find that the statement was forceful or give any kind of hope of what they'll be doing. So I hope that they really do something about this.
Yeah. Well, the power. What I've said to the group is that the power resides with the people, and there's power in the pen, there's power in the pin codes, there's power in many facets, and there are more than one way to skin a cat. So this is an olive branch to the powers that be. So when Anoushka and Melisha called me, I said, this is bigger than me, this is bigger than you, this is bigger than our group. It is incumbent on the persons that make policy, the persons that regulate. I've been in the regulatory industry. It's incumbent on the legislators. It's incumbent on people that are in positions of power to arrest the situation and figure it out, because people will exercise their powers. They're not foolish. We know what is required by us as a customer to keep that bank open, and we know the power of the people to close the doors. We don't want to do that because a large part of our business and livelihood needs an international bank. Regrettably, but they are not the only international bank in the world.
Exactly.
So Republic needs to understand that this time, Anguillians, we are quiet, we are easygoing, but not, as Melisha says, when you mess with our money. I know historically the joke is when you mess with our land, but not when you mess with our money.
And now look at this as we wind down. This month, ladies, it's mental awareness month, and for someone to wake up and someone to wake up and their accounts either wiped clean or a very low balance, and it did not happen by a scammer, but by a financial institution that people trust. That's why they bank there. This can send anyone over the edge. This is their livelihood.
Oh yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh yes. And Marvin, it's not just mental health awareness. I'm a big advocate, but it is also a monumental month in the history of Anguilla. Okay, I'll give you 2 guesses.
It's May. So is this when is this when the revolution all started?
Thank you very much.
Okay, there you go.
Ding, ding, ding. And we don't need guns. We don't need power. We don't need power. We need our intellectual ability, and we're not stupid. We are not stupid. Their own documents will be construed against them. We didn't make this up.
Wow, ladies, I can go on and on about this, but of course you have my fullest support in whatever I can do to get out the word, and whatever the case will be. You can count on THG to do this. Anoushka, I'll hear from you first. We can have your final wrap up, and then Melisha, and then Tara.
Most certainly. I would definitely say to everyone, let's remain strong together. We cannot do it by just one person. Let's do it together. Together we stand, together we go, together we move forward. And I'm definitely in that zone because, like Tara said, it's mental health, mental awareness month. And definitely keep your prayers up because this is a movement that we're going to see through together.
Yes.
Melisha? Is Melisha there or?
I think she just fell off. But I want to echo on her behalf as well.
Okay, go ahead, Tara.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving us your ear and giving us your platform.
I think she's back. Wait, 1 second. Yes, go ahead, Melisha. Sure. I guess not.
I think she's getting all and it's been interrupted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you can go ahead, Tara.
Okay, thank you so much, Marvin. We are very appreciative. We hope to have the support of our brothers and sisters throughout the region. We can be found on Facebook. We can be found on Instagram. They can connect to you to find out how to connect to us. And maybe we're going to end up being an ECCU movement.
Right.
Maybe this will be the start of real Caribbean integration because this one is serious. This one is absolutely serious.
It is more than serious.
I think I got bumped out, Mr. Hanley.
Okay, well, you're right on time. We're getting the closing remarks, so I will ask for your closing remarks on this.
I would just tell people that the importance of togetherness is what's going to make us successful in this venture. Because together, we can do everything. Alone you can only do so much, and together we can do everything. And I implore the people who have not been affected to join as well, because let me tell you, the fact that people have been affected before, and because they only had single voices, they weren't able to be as impactful. And now, because we have all of these voices, I'm asking everyone to please check your accounts because it's important. Even if you think you haven't been affected, please check. And even if you have not been affected, please stand in solidarity because this is the livelihood of all of us. And the only way we can be successful is if we do it together.
And not only that, they must, for those who are not affected, you have to stand in solidarity because today for these ladies, tomorrow for you, it may be another financial institution.
Absolutely.
And you're going to need these same voices to get to fight your cause.
Yes, exactly. Right. That's right.
So ladies.
Hear my mom.
Go ahead.
If your neighbor house on fire, wet yours.
Exactly. So thank you, ladies, once more again for being here. And I wish you all the best in this endeavor. And just stay strong, stay prayed up. And I know that you guys will get some resolve to this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Henley.
Bye.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
No words. I nothing else to add. It's not me, but it's heartbreaking. It is troubling. It makes you angry, to see what people have to go through with the Republic Bank and just the daily struggles of life. And to add this, Do join me again on Monday morning, God's willing, at 6 o'clock for THG News Today with Mervyn Henley. If you have not already, I ask that you subscribe to our network's channel, the YouTube channel. Subscribe, so you do not miss interviews and discussions like this. You do not miss the news or whatever information we have to disseminate to you. So until Monday morning, God's willing, take care of yourselves and have a blessed and safe weekend. I am Mervyn Henley. Thank you.